Sabah everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today I have for you my unboxing and initial impressions of the Huawei MediaPad M5. This is Huawei's offering in 2018 for Android tablets. What I have for you is the 10.8 model, which is the M5 regular, I guess. There's the 8.9, which is the smaller of the three, and then there's the M5 Pro, which is also an option, but it basically is the M5 plus the 10.8 M5 plus a keyboard and an actual stylus. But let's go ahead and check out what the M5 is, as I feel like that's kind of the sweet spot as far as tablets, and it's priced really well on Amazon. So let's go ahead and check out the Huawei MediaPad M5. This is the 10.8 standard, not the Pro, 10.8 inches as far as display. We do have a Harman Kardon basically tuned audio, a high-res audio. And the beauty about it when you go from the 8.9 to 10.8 is the fact that you actually get 4 speakers as opposed to just 2. And we're going to be able to test these guys out. Again, this is the Huawei tablet. And here we are. The tablet is right there, centered. Let's go ahead and pull it out. And, oh, here it is. Let's take it out of the plastic. And very nice. It actually has a pretty good weight on it. It feels pretty good as far as the build. The display on this, as I mentioned, is a 10.8 inch display. We do have a fingerprint sensor, and it's not a button, so it's a sensor on the right. Front-facing camera, Huawei logo on the bottom, of course. The bezels are there for us to be able to hold it in any kind of position we would like. But it definitely looks very nice. We'll get a chance to power it on. On the top, we have some antenna bands, of course, for Wi-Fi. This is not the LTE model, this is just a standard one. Let's go ahead and look. So we have a back-facing sensor. The speakers are in 4 configurations. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. So those are going to be our stereo speakers that have been basically configured and tuned by Harman Kardon. We have a power button, basically an SD card slot to be able to add additional storage. As far as I remember, this is the 64 gig model built-in storage. Volume up and down, USB Type-C connector for power connection, as well as it seems like it's going to be for our audio. Now this definitely has some weight. I feel it actually does have a really good weight. And again, the glass here, I don't know if you guys could see it very well. You could definitely see right there that the glass itself is actually very nice. This is 2.5D glass on this. The rest of the things in the box, we do have a US style plug. This is the Huawei charger, and it does support Huawei Quick Charge. So we're going to be able to charge this tablet at a much faster rate than most standard tablets on the market. And then last but not least, we have a SIM ejector tool for the SD card slot. Here it is, the adapter, the audio adapter, USB-C to 3.5mm headphone jack, a quick start guide, and if I'm not mistaken, it's going to be a USB Type-A to USB Type-C cable to be able to basically data sync and charge our tablet. I'll go ahead and power on the tablet, and we'll go through some of the additional specs on this. Okay, we're going to go ahead and power on the tablet. You'll see right there, Huawei MediaPad powered by Android. Quick information as far as the specs on this. Now this is running the Kirin 960S. It's a slight bump upgrade from what we had originally with the Kirin 960 here on the Mate 9 in the US. So this is Huawei's Mate 9. Very nice. So here it is, consumer.huawei.com/US. This is the US variant. As I mentioned to you guys, it does show that it comes with the US brick with it. But we have 4 gigs of RAM, similar to the way we had it on the Mate 9, as well as the fact that we have 64 gigs of built-in storage, internal storage. Going through the setup real quick, really cool thing here that is if you have another device that you want to transfer your information, either be it a Huawei device, a standard Android device, or even an iOS device, you can use Phone Clone, the built-in application, to transfer your data from your first device to this one, as it does support Wi-Fi transfer, and you'll be able to transfer all your content as far as pictures, videos, settings, and all of that stuff. So I went ahead and finished up the setup. I logged in with my Google account. I set up my Wi-Fi, set up my PIN, as well as set up the fingerprint sensor, and then at the end we're just going to go again, get into EMUI, and if I'm not mistaken, yeah, so the navigation buttons right now are on this side because it recognizes me holding it in this format. So you can hold it in this format, or you can hold it in landscape and it should automatically auto-rotate for you. And here we are. The screen is actually very nice. It looks really good. It has some good viewing angles. This is an IPS display, so just keep that in mind, no OLED, but it is running at a higher resolution than what we normally see on a Mate 9 and Mate 9, like Mate 10, even the Mate 10 Pro, which has a higher resolution, but mostly not a 1080p panel. This is a 2K display. So let's go and look through the specs. The model number is the CMR-W09. Again, this is the US version of this. I am running the 122 version of the operating system, EMUI 8.0 with Android 8.0. So we don't have Android 8.1. And then, of course, we have 4 gigs of built-in storage. The Kirin 960S as far as the processor, 64 gigs of internal storage with 51.9 gigabytes left. Again, mentioned to you guys the resolution is 2560 by 1600 with March 1st as far as the security update. So let's go back here, go back once, see system update and see if there's any updates available for us. Again, I just unboxed this, so there shouldn't be, yeah, pretty much. The one thing I want to mention to you guys, let's go back here, is as far as information here, we have notification, the navigation dock, which we'll be able to change that. Do not disturb. You notice there is no Huawei support. There's no Huawei ID. US variants, for some reason, generally do not come with the Huawei ID support, so we don't have any of that software installed here. As far as wireless network connectivity, we have Wi-Fi, mobile data, and I'm not sure, oh, this is how much data has been used. We'll go back here, VPN, of course. Device connections, we have Bluetooth, mirror share, printing. App permissions, we have apps, notification, permissions, default apps when is installed, which is very nice when it is supported. And then notifications and status bar. We have pulse lighting, so we have a notification light right there. Notification method is icon, display network speed, battery percentage. Let's go ahead and turn that on next to the battery. So we are at 63%. We'll go into the battery, 63%. We have the ability of turning on power saving mode, optimizing battery, optimize here. If we want to go in, we'll go back. And then again, we already added the percentage on here. Going into the display section, auto brightness, eye comfort, home style is the drawer one. So we do have two styles, without and with. But again, in the US, it does turn it on automatically. You have the ability of changing the wallpaper, view size. Smart resolution is the option to be able to turn on and change the resolution of the display to save battery. Not going to worry about that right now. Screensaver, of course. Sounds, we have media, do not disturb, notification, more sound settings, we'll lock in here. So we have screenshot, locking, vibration, power on. I don't need those powers, and I'll turn those off. Storage, as I mentioned to you guys, 64 gigs, 51.85 gigabytes of that is available for us. Security and update, we have Play Protect, security, fingerprint sensor, as I mentioned to you guys. File safe is definitely built in and it is supported, so if you wanted to know about that, it's there. Location access, app lock is also here, and then private space is also supported. That's very, very nice. And of course, here, now it says, I saw, if I'm not mistaken, I saw something where it said SIM lock, and I may be reading this wrong. Let's go back here, storage, security. Well, see there, it says SIM lock device administrator. So when I go in here, I don't see storage type, trusted user, install SD, Well, let's go ahead and pop out this the actual tray and we'll see. And of course, accounts, smart assistants, and then Google. Now, popping out the actual, here it is, the micro SD slot. As I mentioned to you guys, this is not the GSM version, so the slot for the GSM with the SIM card would be right there, and it's actually blocked. So we don't have that on this model, but they do provide a model that is similar to that. So if you wanted to get this tablet with that should be fine. Right away here, we have notification dots support. So if I press it, I can see I have 22 updates that are available. We'll get into that. Let's jump over real quick into the camera. So for the resolution, what we have here is 13 megapixel as far as the back-facing sensor, 4:3 aspect ratio, 10 megapixels down to 16:9 aspect ratio. We'll go back here, and this is again for images. If we want to go ahead and switch over to video, and we'll switch it over here, the resolution is a little bit different. We do have 4K Ultra HD 16:9 aspect ratio in stereo, Full HD at 60 frames per second, Full HD 16:9 aspect ratio, and HD at 720p. A lot of different modes, really seriously, for a tablet, if you're considering getting a tablet. Let's go ahead and switch over to the front-facing camera, and I am going to disable the beauty mode. And let's swipe in. Resolution, as far as max resolution, is an 8 megapixel sensor in the front, 4:3 aspect ratio is the max. And if we switch over to video, and I apologize for keeping my hand in the middle of the screen, it's so reflective. Every time I remove my hand, it tries to focus on itself. The resolution here, it does show here that it's capped at 720p front-facing sensor, even with, oh, actually take that back. The resolution actually is Full HD 1080p, a 16:9 aspect ratio. So we're getting 16:9, no 18:9 aspect ratio as maximum here. So 720 HD, 1080p full front. So you're going to get a really good resolution, 8 megapixel front-facing sensor, and we get a 13 megapixel back-facing sensor capable of 4K. So let's go ahead and do a real quick video sample of both of those. So we're going to start with the front-facing sensor. It's an 8 megapixel front-facing sensor. You're able to go to 1080p if you disable the beauty mode, but if you don't turn it on, it ends up leaving it at 720p, but you do have that option during video. So I went ahead and switched over to the back-facing 13 megapixel sensor here on the tablet. Now I'm not using it at 4K, I'm going to be using it at 1080p 60 frames per second, but it does record in stereo, so that's definitely appreciated. But again, if you do want to go up to 4K, at least you know you have that. And there's a lot of other modes and things that you can download as far as additional things like Pro Video, Pro Photo, just to be able to take better pictures in case you want to do that with a tablet. Now I know you had an opportunity to see those two samples right now, but I'm going to show you guys real quick on the tablet how they sound. The 13 megapixel sensor in the back, I kept it at 1080p just to keep the timeline consistent, but you are able to go to 4K. Wow, that is pretty loud. So you can control the brightness as well as the volume. So just basically right and left, and then you can prop it here. And then of course, again, this is a quick sample of pop the video player, and of course everything stays the same. Now what we do have here is the ability of actually doing, let's go and scroll that. So here is just 2 apps. I'm going to go to the left, and here I can open up another app. Let's go ahead and open up Google Chrome. So definitely multitasking looks really good, and I'm able to switch the applications between the 2 of them. And then I think if I'm not mistaken, I can change orientation, and then of course it does stay the same. So that's definitely very, very nice. And of course I can either scroll it, close it, or change from there. And over real quick in the actual drawer, there's a few things that are installed. We do have Game Suite, which is really functional if you've ever had, we're trying to play games and you get notifications and things that are bugging you. Looks like it's installed, definitely very nice. We do have Kit Corner, which I'm assuming is a kit version or friendly version environment for when they're using the tablet. Netflix Quick is installed as well. High Care is installed. We do have theme support, weather, WPS Office here. So this is a smaller version. It's not the Microsoft one. Let's go ahead and look into themes real quick. So by default, we have the blue, the elegance, and then of course, I was hoping we can download more, but it doesn't seem like they're available. But it seems like it does have at least four themes that are built in. And then scrolling through at the bottom, nothing much. And then of course, Phone Clone, which I'll be using to transfer my data over here. And of course, Gmail, basically mostly the Google Play Suite, Amazon Shopping, and Netflix. This is definitely one of my favorite songs. This is NCS Jumbo. It's by Alice Skringdo. I always keep messing up his name. But again, I just want to share with you guys exactly how the sound plays and how well does it sound. So volume-wise, I am at 100%. I don't recommend you playing this at all times, but we do have the volume toggles here. So let's go ahead and start.
Jack it up.
Sounds pretty good. I like it. It has a pretty good sound and good level of bass, actually, surprisingly, with the sound that we have here. I wanted to show you guys real quick just the screen comparison between it and the iPad Pro 9.5. Now this is the 2017 model, and I went ahead and loaded my Instagram feed, and overall it looks pretty similar. Now from a brightness point of view, I find like this is a little bit warmer, but I think this is part of the settings, and this is more like a bluish tint to it, so just keep that in mind. But again, clicking or selecting the images that you want to look at, for some reason here it opens up much bigger than it was here on the iPad. But again, you can see the images, they look really nice. The color sharpness. Now I am bumping this to 100% brightness. You can actually have auto brightness on, and it will dim it a little bit for you. But if you want to definitely get it outdoors and be able to check out those colors, this is going to be very, very nice. And of course, I can skip through and go through some of my other options here. Definitely very, very nice. Let's do real quick aesthetics as far as the size. As I mentioned, 9.5 inch to 10.8 inch, so you're getting a much bigger display. We do have a battery here that's supposed to be rated to give us over 15 hours of video playback, so I'll have to get a chance to check that out. But overall, I'm very happy with the way this looks. I like the aesthetics of this. I like the weight. I wish I would have had the keyboard option to be able to check that out and see how that compares directly with the iPad Pro. But just holding the two, I can say obviously, a bigger display, bigger battery. This definitely has a much better, heavier build. Where we have more sharper edges here on the iPad, and of course, just basically based on the standard iPad build, that 2.5D glass here is just so nice. It's rounded on all edges, no sharp edges anywhere, and that fingerprint sensor is ridiculous. So again, here you go. Turn it off, on. That's just turn it off, on. I'm barely touching the fingerprint sensor. And that's exactly how this one works. And if you've used an iPad before, again, I do have my fingerprint sensor here set up. So you have to come on. So here you have to press and then turn it on. So still pretty fast, but something that you want to keep in mind. Very, very nice. So my overall impressions are pretty good. So far, we got good weight, good sound, good display, 2K display, form factor is really nice. Signal reception is pretty good so far, and the video on this, as far as if you're going to use this to take or produce video out of this, it's pretty decent. Sensors on the back, on the front can generate pretty good quality video. But overall, for media consumption, that's really what the M5 series is for. This is definitely not going to disappoint. Now, if you want to go for the Pro side to be able to get that extra keyboard and the pencil, those are going to be the M Pen, which is the the Huawei M Pen for the MediaPad. Those things are available in a separate package, but again, for the standard size, the 10.8 inch at $350 on Amazon, I don't think you can beat that in the US. Fast charging as far as charging this back up, so that's another thing that most other tablets do not have. Even the iPad doesn't have that, so that's something you want to keep in mind. Brightness, and as I put this thing again head to head with the iPad, it's actually pretty comparable on the picture quality, and I like the Android the environment because you can change things the way you want it. So if you're not happy with EMUI, the way that looks, install a custom launcher. You can install different applications, do other things to customize your device. So again, this is an initial impressions of this. I want to say thank you very much to Huawei for allowing me to check out the MediaPad M5, and I will be bringing you guys a full review very soon on this really great tablet. Thank you very much for the support. Like and subscribe as usual, and I'll see you guys in the next video.